Hello and welcome to the Business of Story. I'm Park Howell and I have a question for you. How effective is your personal brand in propelling your professional pursuits? Well, I'm glad I have a pop filter on this mic. Well, as a business leader, you know that it's what you stand for that makes you stand out in our crowded, noisy world. But we all can get lost in the mire of marketing when we don't clearly communicate our compelling personal and professional brand stories. Today, we're going to show you how to fix that with an influencer who has combined her love of physics, real estate, and roller skating to create a marvelous brand in Austin, Texas. You're going to love Jackie Cross on this special edition of The Business of Story. My mom, Pat, turns 99 years old this week. That's right, 99 years old. It's amazing. And she is doing incredibly well, and she's just as sharp as she ever was. I mean, don't even try to beat her and her girlfriends at hand and foot. They're card sharks, and they relish destroying you at her kitchen table. Well, 5 years ago, when I was visiting her in Seattle, the FedEx man showed up with a package. I signed for it and handed it to Pat. I said, "Mom, check out the FedEx logo." Well, she looked at it and she said, "Yeah, so? Do you see the arrow in the logo?" I asked. "What arrow?" "Oh, wow. I'd never noticed it before," she said, surprised. Earlier this year, when I was up there seeing her in Seattle, she said to me, "Park, whenever I look at the FedEx logo, now I see that darned arrow. It jumps right out at you every time." "I know," I said. "Now that you've seen it, Mom, you can't unsee it." In addition, for her love of cards, my mom also shared with us her love for playing golf. I think she played until she was like 85 years old. I was watching the PGA on TV last month and was struck by FedEx's powerful storytelling in their new ads. Let me play one for you.
Well, I was on my regular route when I find this note. Bring rings to beach wedding.
FedEx presents Tall Tales of True Deliveries.
So I grabbed the rings and hustled down the beach.
Who has the rings?
I do. I do. Okay, save wedding, all set. Just another day on the job.
If this is what we did for love, see what we can do for your business. FedEx.
To me, FedEx is a great example of activating your know, like, and trust storytelling flywheel. Since 1978, FedEx has been known as the delivery service when your package absolutely, positively has to be there overnight. That was their unique value proposition and what they became known for, when it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight. As most brands do, they dicked around with their UVP, changing their first tagline 15 times with stuff like this: "Our most important package is yours." That lasted from 1991 to 94. "The way the world works," from 96 to 98. "Be absolutely sure," 98 to 2000. "Relax, it's FedEx," 2004 to 2008. "The world on time," from 2009 to, well, whatever. But none of those taglines ever survived the test of time because FedEx was always known as the company to use when it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight. They even returned to this UVP but have truncated it to just 2 words: absolutely, positively. That's what they're known for. FedEx processes around 16 million shipments per day with an annual revenue in excess of $84 billion. Over 35,000 companies use FedEx as a shipping and fulfillment tool. So when they're running ads on the PGA Tour broadcasts, you know they are targeting business executives more than regular consumers. But they take a decidedly emotional storytelling approach, sharing their real-world delivery successes for regular business folks like you and me, making their B2B marketing dramatically more compelling. By the way, FedEx invests $20 million annually in their advertising. Let's listen to another example of their new storytelling campaign.
So a customer shipped the original negatives of a classic Elvis movie.
not knowing the film would disintegrate above 40 degrees.
FedEx presents Tall Tales of True Deliveries.
There it is.
We got it just in time.
Thank you very much.
So basically, Elvis lives. Long live the king.
If this is what we did for film history, see what we can do for your business. FedEx.
Now, I hope you'll agree that there is nothing like a true story about the honest-to-goodness impact you and your company make for the people you serve so your brand becomes immensely more likable. Then, like FedEx, when you deliver on the promises made in your storytelling, you become vastly more trustworthy, and your customers share your story with their world, just like I'm doing here.
It was just a regular Monday.
Hey!
When suddenly,
Can you get this board to Tony Hawk?
FedEx presents Tall Tales of True Deliveries.
I needed a miracle. So I went straight to where miracles happen. Social media.
Hey, did someone say miracle? Let me see that.
So I got the board to Tony, and he even sent one back. But in the future, I'm gonna need an address and a zip code.
If this is what we did for a skateboard, see what we can do for your business. FedEx.
And your know, like, and trust storytelling flywheel absolutely, positively gains traction, leading to the most powerful form of advertising there is. You guessed it, free word-of-mouth marketing that propels the momentum of your storytelling flywheel. We'll explore how the know, like, and trust flywheel is propelling the business of Austin's one and only roller skating real estate agent, and how Jackie Cross has leveraged her personal passion for professional success.
It was not an easy journey. I had a lot of personal resistance to becoming the roller skating realtor because for whatever reason, I thought you can't be a professional. And, I was like, it's not professional enough to be the roller skating realtor. But that's all not true. It's amazing because it's who I am. And so in building my brand, what it took was being authentically me, because that's what got me engaged with people, right? So on Instagram, I've built that following a lot through roller skating by posting my roller skating. It's something I'm great at, and I love to inspire others with it. And so I just share that part of my life. And then I'm able to tie in the real estate because I am also very much a real estate professional.
Jackie knows what it takes to break into a competitive market, even when you're not sure how to stand out. But you are a unique person with a unique backstory. All it takes is the courage to lean into your uniqueness to create your own niche, because being relatable more than ever goes a long way to becoming successful. So please welcome to the Business of Story, Jackie Cross, who will show you how she has leveraged her unique personal passions to grow a successful real estate career, and how you can too, no matter whatever endeavor you are pursuing. Hey, Jackie, welcome to the show.
Hey, Park, happy to be here.
Now, in full disclosure for all of our listeners, Jackie is soon to become a Howell here. She is marrying Parker August 8th up here in Munns Park, Arizona, and we are so delighted to have you become part of our family.
I'm excited to become part of your family. It's an exciting time.
This is great, and I'm so glad you're here because you have such a fascinating story, from roller skating to physics to becoming Austin's roller skate realtor.
That's
right. Do I have that right? Is that the official moniker?
Roller skating realtor, yep. Or roller skating real estate agent.
There you go. And I love it. So tell us a little bit about your background in roller skating. Where were you raised, and how did you get into, what you would call figure skating, roller skating, or whatever, and some of your exploits at that?
Yeah, I would love to share because it's quite a niche world, actually. So it's called artistic roller skating, and it is just like figure skating, like what most people see on ice, but it's done on roller skates, and it's a lot smaller than the figure skating world. But I got into it because when I was younger, my dad signed me up pretty much whatever sport I looked at, and there happened to be a roller rink right by our house, and he put me into some classes, and the teacher there was like, "Oh, your daughter's great in the classes. She should start taking private lessons." Took some private lessons. "Oh, your daughter, we've been in her private lessons. We put together a routine. There's a competition this weekend. You should submit her." So I started going to the local competitions, started doing well there. One thing led to the next. I stuck to it and became an international competitor, was able to qualify and make the Team USA and represent the US at the World Championships 3 times. And I had hoped that I would skate for the rest of my life, but I had no idea the opportunities that world would open up for me. Like you mentioned, I got into physics when I went to college, and that's when I kind of slowed down in the competitive aspect of roller skating. But at the time, I lived in California near Los Angeles, and well, I guess even before I got working professionally in Los Angeles, I, in college, did a year abroad and studied in Paris, France. And I was able to pay my way through that year because I met some local professional roller skaters who took me in and made me part of their crew. And I did live performances there. I worked events. I was on live television. And that was the beginning of my professional roller skating career. Came back and started doing, music videos and stunt doubles and things like that in LA.
Well, and you've become quite an influencer on Instagram in your own very unique way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But where did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Cal State Fullerton, right there in Southern California.
Yeah, not an easy school, and you studied physics, graduated with physics, and your father, Arnold, he's literally a rocket scientist. So
Yep.
did he push you into that, encourage you into it, or is it just something you grew up around and so it became kind of a natural next extension?
Yeah, my dad's side of the family is a bunch of engineers, and I was really exposed to a lot as a kid. My dad worked for Boeing for a time, and he'd do the bring your daughter to work day and things like that. So I've always had a knack for science and math and really interested in it. It's funny because I was growing up in that environment, but I think naturally I'm a very creative person. And going into college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I loved languages, I loved history, I loved art, I loved science and math and all of that. And my dad just looked at me and said, "You know what? Why don't you just pick one of the more difficult things that you're interested in and go for it, because it never hurts to, study something that's a little more difficult, and then you can always go into something else if you don't find a passion in it." And so I started actually in mechanical engineering and then switched to physics after my first year. And I loved it. Yeah, it was great.
And you graduated and you became, do I have this right, an optical engineer
Yes.
right out of school? What were you doing there?
Yeah, so I became an optical engineer. I was doing photolithography, making diffusers for a
Now,
company.
wait a minute. What is photolithography?
Yeah. So I'll just give you it's funny. That's not really a great way of explaining it, but it's kind of like you're using light to record things, just like you would with film photography, right? You expose film to light and you get a photograph. Photolithography is like that, except for you're creating 3D structures on your film. So it's not flat, it's 3D, and they're usually I was creating like micro and nano structures using photolithography. And all your microchips in your phones and things, photolithography is part of how they make the circuits in those little boards.
I got you. And so how long did you do that?
I worked as an optical engineer for a little over 2 years.
And it just wasn't working for you. I mean, you made a move then, quite a career shift after that. Take us through that.
Yeah, so I enjoyed optical engineering, but I was missing something in it. I'm a people person. And when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. I really enjoyed that interaction and kind of seeing those light bulbs go off in other people. And I mean, as an engineer, I had light bulbs go off myself a million times, coming up with solutions for problems. But I never had the satisfaction of what I would get as a teacher. And I had a roommate, and I was telling her about, what I felt like was missing in my life. And she looked at me and she goes, "You should get into real estate." And I thought she was crazy. I was like, real estate, sales, ugh, no, never. And, just time went on and she was like, "You should just she was a realtor. And she's like, "You should just shadow me and check out the industry." And eventually I took her up on it and I shadowed her and she walked me through it. And I was like, I'm like, I could totally do this. And two, it uses all my skills. I'm not scared of the numbers. I love looking at the data and seeing the charts and going over all that. I'm not scared of reading a contract. In physics, I had to read textbooks that are so hard to read. And I get the satisfaction of working with people, and a lot of first-time buyers, first-time sellers, first-time investors, or even, every deal is a learning lesson for everybody. And so just being able to go through that is so satisfying. And so funny enough, I took a personality test. I took the Myers-Briggs, which I had taken before and never found anything useful from it. But I took it after shadowing with her, and it told me, what I shouldn't be doing. And it was at the time more or less describing what I was doing as an engineer. And then I clicked on careers for this personality type. And one of the first ones was real estate agent. So I signed up for the real estate classes and shortly after put in my letter of resignation and became a real estate agent.
Back.
Never.
I remember you telling me early on that you were targeting some of the professors and the engineers that were coming into California to teach at schools there because you knew that their minds worked so differently than most everybody else's. And people often have a hard time communicating with big thinking, professors and engineers. And that was one of your target audiences early on because you understood them. Mm-hmm. You knew how to communicate with them and how to help them land their first home in California when they moved into town to go to work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have the patience for it. It's funny, when I got into real estate, the market that my office was located in didn't have a lot of that demographic. And it was funny, other agents talking about how difficult engineers are to work with because they like to look at the numbers and they read the contracts and they want to make sure it makes sense and have lots of questions. And I'm so used to it. It doesn't faze me one bit, let's dive into it. So that was definitely one of my target markets when I first started.
That's a great niche. Understanding your strengths to be able to go out and help your customers get what they want. Then you started doing some interesting things, and now you're still living in California, SoCal at this time. You have since moved out with Parker to Austin, Texas, and you guys have been out there, going on 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be 3 years in September, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. October. Yeah. So we're
in October.
2.5.
But you were doing some interesting marketing tactics that I think probably most people in the real estate industry wouldn't even imagine doing. What were those?
Yeah. So what you're talking about when we first moved to Austin?
Well, and even back in California when you were doing the roller skating, playing off of your roller skating background and how you leveraged that into customers.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you the story of it. So before that, when I got into real estate, I had never done sales. Commissions, I didn't know what's a commission, what's a buyer side, a seller side. I didn't know anything about it. So when I decided to make that transition, I was like, it's time to stop fooling around. I stopped coaching skating. I stopped performing. I pretty much quit skating altogether. And I've never really done that ever since I put on my first pair of skates. I was a very avid skater and participant in the community. And so I got into real estate. I was at the office at 6:30, 7 a.m. and I'd stay there till 7. I took every training I possibly could. And I was just super focused on real estate those first 6 months to a year. And then 2020 happened and the pandemic started. And during the pandemic, everybody started roller skating. I mean, everyone and their mom started buying skates. In fact, the skate manufacturers in the US ran out of skates. And so when that happened, I had a bunch of my past roller skating clients calling me, going, and they were like models and things on Instagram, so they had a big influence. And they're calling me, going, Jackie, you need to start teaching again. Everybody's calling me, and I know how to skate, but I don't know how to teach it. And so I was like, okay, I'll start teaching a class once a week just to, help all these people who just bought their skates for the first time. And then I started teaching a little more. And then I started selling houses to the people I was teaching skating, because I would just, as a real estate agent, I always mention it somehow, one way or another, that I'm in real estate. And people just started asking me questions organically because they knew I was in the industry. And I started selling houses to roller skaters. And then a light bulb went off and I go, why am I trying to shut down this roller skating world that's been such a huge part of my life when I have such a network in it and am able to connect with people so well through it? And so that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start trying to be the roller skating realtor. And when we moved, and I really leaned into that when I moved to Austin. So Parker and I, as you mentioned, moved to Austin, Texas, and I knew nobody. I didn't know a soul in Austin. And I messaged one of my roller skating friends, Darian Reyes, who travels and things. And I said, hey, I'm moving to Austin. Who do you know that I should know? And he put me in touch with Daryl Demps, who's been a roller skater in Austin. He's an Austinite and came out here. I met him, and one thing led to another. I ended up meeting a bunch of roller skaters out here. I started the School of Skating. So this first 6 months in Austin, I'm going out in the world as much as I can to learn about the city, because what's a real estate agent who doesn't know the neighborhoods? And I'm also really meeting as many roller skaters as I can. And once I got my real estate license, that's when I started really pushing the fact that I'm a real estate agent out there. And then this time intentionally, this was a lot more intentional. My roller skating contacts started becoming my real estate contacts. And I mean, it's been working great.
It really has. And you've also got kind of another side hustle called Ignite on Wheels. Mm-hmm. So you're doing that in addition to teaching, in addition to selling homes. What is Ignite on Wheels?
Yeah. So Ignite on Wheels is my roller skating brand. That's not my personal brand. And it's underneath it is the School of Skating, which is what I teach through. And I have other instructors that teach through the School of Skating. And then I have Ignite on Wheels, the entertainment company. And Ignite does, it takes the amazing local roller skating talent and we do performances. So live events, corporate events, concerts, things like that. You can hire Ignite on Wheels to bring you some roller skating performers.
What's the craziest event you've done so far with Ignite on Wheels?
With Ignite on Wheels, the craziest event, I don't know that I can say that there's been any crazy ones, but one of the funnest ones that we've done has been at the COTA racetrack, which is where the Formula One happens. It's a amazing racetrack. And we got to do the Peppermint Parkway a few years ago and roller skate in one of the tunnels and just wave at people.
What's the Peppermint Parkway?
Good question. So that is a event that the COTA racetrack does during holiday season, so late November through December. And that was actually the first gig I ever got out here in Austin. I landed in Austin and I thought, holy cow, what am I going to do? I don't have any clients. I don't know anybody. And I posted that I just moved to Austin and my phone rang and one of my contacts in Los Angeles called me and she goes, Jackie, did you just move to Austin? I said, yeah, I sure did. She goes, well, and she runs an entertainment company. She goes, I just started a branch out in Austin and we need roller skaters. And so I was able to book and manage they needed a roller skater every day for 30 days. And they needed 4 roller skaters for
And so
every day
there
for
was
30
nothing
days.
like that in Austin. You showed up and started Ignite on Wheels. Did you have any competition for that?
No. So part of why we moved to Austin, is with what Parker does and with what I do, we looked at, what's going on in the market, and I looked into Austin, and there wasn't really any findable skating community. There findable professional roller skating groups or anything like that. So when I came out here, that's what I was like, okay, let's do it. After meeting the roller skaters, so I booked skaters for the Coda Racetrack, Peppermint Parkway, met everybody, and realized people wanted to do this, but either didn't know how or didn't know what to do when they were contacted about it. And I've been doing this for ages, I'm like, well, why don't I just start a company?
Right on. And was it always that you were going to start Ignite on Wheels to feed your real estate business, or was it just to feed your soul of roller skating and going out, knowing that it would also cross over into real estate?
Oh, it feeds my soul. Yeah. I mean, I can talk about it like it's my it's a real strategy, but that's definitely not where it's all coming from. It's just nice not to have to shut that passion down and to still be able to do what I do as a real estate agent. And I mean, some things I do that are intentional, like I sometimes make a flyer that's real estate for roller skaters. Obviously, I'm targeting my roller skating market for real estate. But the Ignite on Wheels thing is a bit of a passion project that just also happens to lead to real estate business.
Well, that's what I just love so much, this intersection between physics and your logical, reason-driven mind and working through very difficult problems to your love for roller skating and your physical. I mean, you're still one of very few women that can do a double axel on roller skates. Is that right?
Well, I haven't tried one in a while, but
okay. Yeah.
As of a year and a half ago, I could still do my double axel pretty easily.
Yeah, and we're talking the big, heavy roller skates. I mean, 4 wheels on both feet. We're not talking about some little slimline, roller skate. It looks difficult.
Yeah.
When we first met you, Parker brought you up to Seattle, and we went on a trip for a week up there, the lake house up there on Lake Chelan. And we were at my mom's house. And I talked about my mom earlier in this show at the beginning, Pat, and she welcomed you. And the first time we had all met you, and the first time she had met you, and you brought your roller skates and were doing things out in the driveway. And I remember Pat going, "Oh man, that's great!" And then I can't even remember who brought it up, but we got Pat's golf cart out. We all climbed on it, Parker and Caden and I, and you went bombing down this hill by her house, weaving back and forth. You were like a downhill slalom skier. And I don't even know how fast you were going. We were avoiding the road bumps, in the speed bumps in the road in our golf cart so we wouldn't go flying out. And you were just taking them on. And I remember my mom looking at you, and I think she said, "Oh, to have those legs."
Yeah, wasn't that a blast, man? Yeah,
that was a gas. I mean, you went a full mile, maybe mile and a half down that hill and through that neighborhood. It was really fun. And then another story that I love too, and this was your optical engineering side of you. We were over in Lake Chelan, and we were at the head of the lake. It's a 55-mile lake carved out of the North Cascades Mountains, beautiful. And we were up at this place called Stehekin. And they have this very iconic handmade cabin that this nuclear engineer guy from Spokane built. And it's so iconic and beautiful that even Sunset Magazine placed it on its cover several years ago. We had never, in all the time we would take the Lady of the Lake boat up to the head of the lake, because you can't drive there. You can only get there by boat or airplane, seaplane, or hike it if you want to do that. And we went by the house, And the people were there. It's the first time I'd ever seen them or met them, and they couldn't have been nicer. And they were very proud of this beautiful home that they built. And do you remember this, Jackie, when he was pointing out his house, the first structure they built, and then the 2-car garage that was right next to it that looked very similar. And he says, I bet you can't tell the difference between the construction of the house and the construction of the garage. And you said, oh, sure, the dovetails are fake on your garage. I mean, and he was just like, whoa, nobody has ever figured that out. And you nailed it. And I just remember cracking up and I'm saying, optical engineer. She saw it. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
But now it all has come together and you've got it. I want to move into this idea of the know, like, and trust storytelling flywheel that you and Parker and I discussed last time you were out here in Arizona. And it was something that I've been tinkering with a little bit. And I thought that you are just a marvelous example of it because you work so well in your influencer marketing, especially on LinkedIn, Instagram, that I'd like for you to share some of your tips and techniques there to become known as the roller skating real estate agent in Austin, Texas. That's what you are known for, a decided niche in the marketplace. You haven't been there very long, but you've been very successful of really becoming known by that. And then your likability factor goes way up, not only when people meet you and hang out with you, but before they know you. What they see, what you do on Instagram and social media to become this really very approachable, likable person that then you deliver for them, the homes or the events at Ignite on Wheels that creates that trust factor, which leads to referral business, which makes you even more known, more likable, and even more trustworthy. So when you really started out to figure out your brand as a roller skating real estate agent, you first thought about that in California, but what did it take to really become known as that personal and professional brand?
Yeah, before I dive, and I might forget that question because I want to cover something real quick, but so you might have to repeat it. But I just want to say it was not an easy journey. I had a lot of personal resistance to becoming the roller skating realtor because for whatever reason, I thought you can't be a professional. And, I was like, it's not professional enough to be the roller skating realtor. But that's all not true. It's it's amazing because it's who I am. And so in building my brand, what it took was being authentically me. Truly, that was probably the biggest thing, just being me, because that's what got me engaged with people, right? So on Instagram, I've built that following a lot through roller skating by posting my roller skating. It's something I'm great at, and I love to inspire others with it. And so I just share that part of my life. And then I'm able to tie in the real estate because I am also very much a real estate professional. I work in it every day. I know my stuff. I can answer your questions when you ask me them. And so I don't need to bombard people with the real estate thing because the truth is most people aren't trying to do a real estate deal every day, right? So I build my brand around the things that people can relate to all the time. My roller skaters roller skate all the time. And so that's where I build my connection. And then I occasionally post about my real estate stuff. And I make sure that it's informative. It's not just a, hey, look at all the things I'm selling. I tell people how I've helped my clients in the past, and helped solve their problems and how, I might be able to help you solve your problems. And I provide helpful information. And what that does is the people who know me, found me through roller skating, they get those little tidbits of real estate. And then when they have a question, they feel comfortable talking not about me. Well, maybe about me, but talking with me.
Right.
And coming up to me and asking questions. And it's tricky in real estate. I feel like a lot of people are nervous to talk to realtors because they feel like they're going to be sold, that they're going to have houses pushed upon them. And so the way my brand is, it's really friendly. And I'm a no pressure agent with my clients. I'll be a pressure agent for my clients. But yeah, so that's kind of how my brand has been designed.
So you had to kind of get over yourself about, like, I love roller skating, but it's not professional enough to also be in the real estate world. And then you said, wait a minute, time out. It is. I've proven it. I can do both of these things, and I can bring these two loves together into one very successful career. And you had mentioned, being your authentic self. Everybody says that. Why is it so hard to do it?
Oh man, I don't know if I have a good question for that. There must be something out there in the world that makes us feel like we need to be something else. I mean, in the world we live in, we see all these advertisements and all these people doing these other things, and we see what everyone else is doing, and we project that onto ourselves like that's what we need to do, And getting into real estate, I was in an amazing office to get started, but it was a suit and tie, door knocking, cold calling office. Being the roller realtor on Instagram wasn't the thing I was around. And so that's probably part. I mean, I should post a photo of my first headshot. I look so ridiculous. I don't know what I was thinking, but I look 20 years older than I actually am.
But you were trying to fit in.
Yeah. And, and the thing with my job is finding a realtor that you like to talk to, I feel is really important, because you're about to go on this, at least 30-day journey, 40-day journey. Oftentimes it's a 6-month journey, from start to finish. You don't want to, when you see my name pop up on your phone, I want you to be excited to talk to me and comfortable to have conversations with me. I feel like that's really important in a realtor, and being someone you like and trust is important in that, Yeah,
and I think one of your first deals, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, in Austin, was for someone you met. It was a young couple with maybe a child or maybe two, a very young family, and they didn't have a lot of money, and you found them a home. And I think you even gave back your commission on that to help them get into the house. So you essentially made nothing, but it then led to them telling your amazing story to their boss, who did have a lot of money, and then hired you to help him find a home.
Oh, I'm trying to remember I don't know if that's 100% true, because I wouldn't ever totally give away all my commission, but I have had it happen where I am helping a client, and if we're in a deal, this is the house, and we have to make it happen. I'm gonna make it happen, not by giving away my entire commission, but then I have had it happen where I do a great job. I mean, at this point in my business, about 70% of my clients are referral based, so did a great job for my past client, and they're sending me somebody.
It's that trust factor. Mm-hmm. It's, that know, like, and trust factor in the storytelling flywheel. Now, so you are now new into Austin. You're doing this. You've found your moniker. How did you promote it? And how do you use Instagram and other social media so that you stand out? Because you think about it, there's no more commoditized industry than the real estate industry. Mm-hmm. You can't swing a cat and throw it over your shoulder and not hit a realtor somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So you had to stand out. You found this moniker, but how did you cut through the noise so people would start recognizing you for who you are and what you do?
I'm loud about it. Instagram is a huge part of staying top of mind, right? So I do use my Instagram. I post to it. I post to my wall a lot of skating. So if you look me up, you're going to see a lot of skating. But if you follow me, you'll see a lot of real estate in my stories. So people can tune in or tune out, and tune in because I can be pretty funny. Just saying. And so that's how I do my Instagram. And it's funny because I started doing that. And then when I go to the skating rink, people come up to me and they go, "You're the roller skating realtor, aren't you?" And my friend over here is talking about buying it, and then they introduce me to someone at the rink, and I don't know either of these people. They've just follow me on Instagram. They've seen me post to my story, and they know about my brand. And then I'm helpful. I have time for everybody. If you have questions, I will answer them. And that just builds I build really good rapport in that way. and I'm seen as a resource, and then there's just word spreads. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing.
The trust factor builds. Do you use other channels besides Instagram?
Currently, Instagram's my big one. I do have a Facebook that's synced with my Instagram, and I post to Google My Business occasionally and to LinkedIn very occasionally. And because it's how I started in the industry, you will catch me door knocking. I do like to go. I mean, I love talking to people. And so getting to know the people who actually live in my community, knock on their doors, find out what's going on in, different areas. I enjoy doing that. So that's another piece of my business.
Now, what do you recommend to people that are maybe in the same situation as you? I fielded a call about a month ago from a gentleman who was out in North Carolina, and he was wanting to get out of the tech world and didn't know what he wanted to do. And I actually had to kind of keep prodding him. I go, but what do you really want to do? And he said, real estate. And that's what immediately made me think of you. And I told him about your story. He said he didn't know how the tech world and real estate would really work together and what his, some of his loves were and his personal passions in that. And I go, well, check out what Jackie's doing because of your background in roller skating and physics and now real estate. And he was hesitant at first, but then he also was like, oh, I get it. I see what she's doing. That's very cool. What would you recommend to people, and what do people mostly have to overcome, even in themselves, as you did, to be able to have that courage to marry that personal passion and pursuits with their professional world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, be honest with yourself. I feel like we set these expectations that aren't true to us, and then it just puts you in this like freeze. You don't know what to do because you don't want to take the step towards what you think you need to do because it doesn't feel right, but then you're nervous about being your authentic self. I mean, in his case, the overlap is you have to open your mind to what it could be. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, that who better to sell houses to than the tech people is one thing. But if you're like a data person, I mean, put out data. There's a realtor I know who, I mean, he sends out spreadsheets. Not everybody likes to look at them, but the people he likes to serve likes to look at them. And so just find what it is. And boy, when I tell you there's a niche for it, if there's a niche for you, especially if you're in real estate, trust me, even if it's just you like reading books, start a book club. You're going to start meeting people and they're going to get to know you. You're going to be doing what you love. You're going to be reading books. And it doesn't take a lot. You have 5 in real estate, you have 5 solid clients. And each of them refers you 1 or 2 people, and then those people refer you 1 or 2 people. It just grows and grows and grows like that. And that would be my tip for him is figure out what it is that he could picture himself doing and having a good time doing. In real estate, you have the ability to do that, and then lean into it and build a community around it. And then your business will take off. And obviously know your real estate stuff. So
yeah, you got to have that down. But what you're doing is attracting like-minded people, your peeps, that enjoy the same things that you do, so you can have those conversations and storytelling times together to really make that connection. And then, like you say, you got to know your stuff when it comes to business, so then you deliver for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole know, like, and trust storytelling flywheel accelerates. It builds on its own momentum. And now how long, so you guys will have been there, 2.5 years now. It took you what? You spent 6 to 8 months before you got your real estate license there. You were doing other things and moving in and starting Ignite on Wheels, but you really haven't been at this for very long in Austin, but you've had quite a lot of early success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I take what I do seriously. So after I got my real estate license, I should figure out how long it took me to make my first sale in Austin, but it wasn't too long. And then I actually got so busy I just got so busy at one point, I had to slow down. I go, woo, okay, time to get some extra help and, brought in assistants and transaction coordinators and things like that. And so, yeah, it didn't take long. I mean, I in LA when I first started kind of wasn't sure how to organize my business. And when I came to Austin, I was very intentional. I'm the roller skating realtor, and I just made sure. I mean, it's not rocket science, it's build relationships, know your stuff, be available, and let people know what you do. And that's it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's not rocket science. So we've come full circle here, Jackie. What is your handle on Instagram? How can people go there right now and pull you up?
Yeah, go look up Me Jackie C. MEJACKIEC. The letter C, which I'm going to have to rebrand that because soon I'll be Me Jackie H. So that
Oh, no, keep that brand. Keep that brand. You can work the Howell thing out in there, and we are so tickled to have you and Arnold joining our family. This is going to be a lot of fun. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Jackie. Where can people learn more about you besides on Instagram?
Oh, you can look me up on Google.
Google Business?
Yeah, Google Business. Just look up Jackie Cross Roller Realtor or Jackie Cross Roller Skater. I mean, if you go deep, you'll see some fun music videos probably. But yeah, I'm everywhere.
Oh, we had some fun at Christmas time when your dad busted out your old roller skating videos. I think you were, when did you start, like 5 years old?
Yep. I think I put my first pair of skates on when I was 4, and I started competing 7 to 9, and there was a little gap year when I was 8. And then I was at that rink 5 to 7 days a week from age probably 10 till, I don't know, like 21.
And how old were you when you started really winning?
I mean, I think I won my first competition when I was 9, but I was skating as a world-class skater when I was 11. I made the world team as part of a group when I was 11, and then made the world team as a solo skater when I was 16 and 17.
Oh, how much fun is that? I gave up roller skating when we used to have those I was a little kid, and we just threw these things on. They were metal skates, and they had clay wheels. And if you didn't watch out for the pebbles in the driveway, those pebbles would stop you and you would land on your face. Mm-hmm. And I think I did that twice, and I said, I'm out of here.
Yeah, the technology's come a long way since then.
A little bit. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for being here and sharing your own know, like, and trust storytelling flywheel. You're killing it out there in Austin, and just so much fun to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Park. Pleasure to be here. And to the audience listening in, thanks for tuning in. And I hope you got something and maybe a little confidence to go lean into being your authentic self.
Awesome. Thanks for listening to and sharing this edition of The Business of Story. If I can help you and your people grow as more confident and compelling storytellers, please shoot me a note to park@businessofstory.com. Or you can start right now with your ABTs of Agile Communications micro training course at businessofstory.com/ABT. It's where you begin activating your know, like, and trust storytelling flywheel by articulating your clear and compelling brand story. I'd like to give a big shout out to Caden Howell for editing our show, to Darius Holbert for composing our music, and to Marissa Hill for her remarkable marketing and community management. I hope you're going to join me next Monday when you will meet Julianne Ryan, author of I Learned It in Queens, on winning against digital distraction with your storytelling. Until then, remember that the most potent story you will ever tell is the story you tell yourself. So make that a great one. Oh, and happy birthday, Mom.